Welcome to Daily Overdose.
When you're going through hell and everything is going against you, the easiest thing in the world to do is to start thinking negative.
It's easy to go through life holding on to things that are weighing us down. Guilt, resentment, doubt, worry. The problem is when we allow these things in, they're taking up space for the good things that should be there. Imagine your life is like a container. You were created to be filled with joy, peace, confidence, creativity. But if you allow worry in, it pushes out the peace. There's not space for both. You can't go above 100%. You have a limited amount of room. If you allow guilt to take up space, that's space that you don't have for the confidence you need.
Most people will let their present physical results control their way of thinking. They're emotionally involved in it. They think it's an accident that the same results keep reoccurring. That's no accident. If you've got a financial problem, if you've got a cash flow problem, if you've got a marital problem, that's what most people concentrate on. If a doctor takes a photograph of your body and then tells you you're sick and shows you you're sick, what's the person concentrate on? Sickness. What's the photograph prove? The photograph proves that the person has been concentrating on something wrong to move their body into that vibration. What should they do? They should ask for help. Where does it come from? There's only one source, and they see perfect health, or they see prosperity. But the cynics don't believe this. It's a strange thing. The cynics don't get results either. Quit letting your present results control your thinking.
Don't let life change your name. Don't let it change your name. Don't you be nasty just because they're nasty. Don't you be hateful just because they're hateful. Don't you be vengeful just because they're vengeful. Don't lose yourself in your situation. Don't let your situation eat up yourself.
You've got to get grounded. You've got to train your mind to serve you. Meditation is one of the ways in which you can do that. Reading is one of the ways that you can do that. Listening to music is one of the ways that you can do that. Exercise is one of the ways in which you can do that. Things that you can do to still your mind, to clear your thoughts so you can think.
Change the way you see yourself and begin to tend to the personal details. If you trust yourself, if you believe and don't doubt in everything in you, you can do it. You can do it. When you say a situation, a person is hopeless, you're slamming the door in the face of God. There's no guarantee that because somebody is now down on their luck, they can never come back. Who can guarantee that you can't make, that you can't have your dream? All we need to do is we look at our dream as we get ready to hit the floor. I'm blessed and highly favored. Don't let circumstances turn you around. Don't let hard times turn you around. Whatever you're experiencing, you know that this too shall pass. That you have the ability to make it happen. Why? You got a sense of entitlement. I deserve this, and whatever I have to do, I'm willing to step up and to face life and grab it in a collar and say, give it up, because it's mine.
People think there is something called as negative thought and positive thought. They want to remove the negative thoughts and have only positive thoughts. For such people, I would ask them to just experiment for 10, 15 seconds. Let them forcefully remove one thought from their mind. For example, next 10 seconds, just don't think of a monkey. Try not to think of a monkey. For next 10 seconds, you will see you will be full of monkeys. So what I am saying is, this is the nature of your mind, because in this mind, all the 3 pedals are throttle. There is no brake, there is no clutch. Whatever you touch, it will only go faster. In this kind of mind, people have been taught from moral teachers and religious teachers, do not think about bad things. Well, since then, it's been a full-time job. So there is no way you can handle the mind like this. This doesn't need any great enlightenment. If you spend 2 minutes with your eyes closed, you will realize you cannot do anything forcefully with this mind. So, I want to remove negative thoughts. Do not ever go in this direction, because what you want to remove will become your quality. Always you will be on it. So, what should I do? The thing is, without understanding the fundamental mechanism of this mind, Because our mind, human mind, is the most sophisticated computer on the planet. Even all the supercomputers have come out of this. When this is the case, is it not important that we understand the mechanics of how it functions? One simplistic aspect of how it functions is there are no subtractions and divisions in our mind. There is only addition and multiplication. If you try to do something with it, it will say one more. If you try hard, it will multiply into many more. In this mind, you don't try to identify what is positive, what is negative, and try to remove it. First of all, one needs to understand this mind of yours. This body of yours is supposed to serve you. The life that you are is important. Body and mind are vehicles that must serve us. If you sit in a vehicle, it must go where you want to go. If it goes to its own destination, what is the point of such a vehicle? It's just a nuisance. Right now, most human beings are, unfortunately, experiencing this fantastic possibility of human mind as a nuisance, as a troublesome thing. Well, this is the most beautiful thing you have. There is something called as you which exists. This is not a composite of all your thoughts and emotions and physiological processes. Beyond that, there is you. If you close your eyes, even if you cannot see anything, you're still there. It is through the window of your eyes that you are looking out. But if you close your eyes, it doesn't mean that you don't exist. You still exist. So, beyond your thought, you still exist. Beyond your emotion, you still exist. So that you, the life that you are, this has to come into your experience. Why is it that you're not allowing that to come into your experience, which is the most significant aspect of who you are? Who you are right now, the most significant aspect is you and me are alive right now. This is it. What I'm thinking, what you're thinking is not the important thing. We are alive right now. That is the important thing. So it is important that you focus on this fundamental sense of aliveness within you. And then you will see there is a natural distance between you and your thought process. Once there is a distance between your psychological process and your physiological process, this is the end of suffering. Because there are only two kinds of suffering that human beings go through: physical suffering and mental suffering. Once you create a little space between you and your mind, between you and your body, this is the end of suffering. This is something every human being has to experience and know, otherwise thinking, I will just remove negative thoughts and I will have positive thought. All the best, it's not going to work. 100% it's not going to work, because nobody can remove it. They can avoid it for some time. So when negative thoughts come, you say whatever you want, but this is just avoiding, it's not gone. The moment you stop that, it will pop back with great force. Otherwise, it will come back in your dreams. So it's very important. First of all, you need to understand your anger, your resentment, your fear, your anxieties, the negativity that you generate. Generally resentment, anger, it is always directed towards somebody. But we need to understand this is poisons that we are drinking and expecting somebody else to die. Fortunately, life doesn't work like that. If I drink poison, I die. If I drink poison, you don't die. So we need to understand this. When I say poison, today you can have yourself chemically analyzed right now. What is your blood work? What it says, 5 minutes of intense anger. Check your blood work and see. There will be lots of negative elements in it. Literally, you're poisoning yourself. So do you want to poison yourself? Definitely not. Now the very question is coming from certain helplessness. What shall I do? Don't do anything. Just sit back and just concern yourself with something which is the life process. Maybe your heartbeat, maybe your breath, maybe just the sensation of being alive. Depending upon how sensitive or how perceptive you are, accordingly, find something. It could be a sensation in the body, it could be breath, it could be heartbeat, it could be anything, something which indicates life to you. Just pay attention to that for some time. Slowly, you will see there is a distinction between what is you and what you have gathered, which includes both your physiological and psychological possibility or mess, whatever you've made out of it.
You're not bright enough. You waited too late. You should have started younger. Those are the kind of voices that we all live with. For me, our ministry was growing. We lived in a nice house we'd ever had. Driving a nice car, living from paycheck to paycheck, making it. Every night, I lay down at night, I hear the voices. Those voices are the kind of voices that stop you from buying into your own life. Stop you from enjoying the good times and believing that they will last. The anxiety and the pressure and the strength that it took to get from where you were to where you are doesn't go away, so you don't really believe it's yours. You're driving it, but you don't really believe it's yours. And you're scared to relax and really rest in whatever it is or whoever it is. And the enemy always has some sort of tool or memory or situation that he uses to terrify you, even though the good times are here and the dream is there and the blessing is there and the goodness is there. But there's always this haunting, nagging defiance that says, don't you relax. You're not worth it. You don't deserve it. And it's not going to last. Resting in what God has done is often more difficult than receiving what God has done. To rest in it, to believe that it will last, to believe that you will last, that love will last, that life will last, that good times will come, that things will be better, is difficult because of the voices. And you are what you eat, and the voices are the food that feeds your faith or fear. You see those voices that say what you can't do, what you can't have, what you can't be, what's not going to last, what's not going to work, is how the enemy pulverizes the promises of God in your life. And it takes word to combat word. That's why when Jesus was in the wilderness and Satan was throwing word at him, he was throwing word back. And what we have to do is put word on word. I'm blessed. I'm blessed in the city. I'm blessed in the field. I'm blessed in my uprising. I'm blessed in my downsetting. I'll be blessed into my old age. I'll be blessed when I'm an old man. My grandchildren will be blessed. My body is blessed. My mind is blessed. My head is blessed. I got this. I can handle it. I can do it. Bring it on. Here it is. That kind of talk, saying that to yourself, drives back the other voices of negativity that we all have creep up behind us and tell us that we're not capable and we're not competent and we're not gifted enough and we're not good enough or we waited too late or God is punishing us.
This is kind of hard to understand, but sometimes you can try so hard at something. Sometimes you can be so prepared and still fail. And with every time you fail, it's painful. It causes sadness.
Understand, my friend, is that you're supposed to fail. You're supposed to fail because failure is the stepping stone to success. It's not just cliche, because failure is an experience that lends to wisdom that ultimately makes you a stronger version of yourself.
Self-love, rebuilding self, seeing to it that you spend enough personal and alone time to seek higher levels of self. What is the next level of you?
Remember, whenever one door closes, there is another door waiting for you. Don't second guess yourself, and don't be so afraid of failing that you create excuses instead of producing results.
Every day, you have another opportunity to be and do what you were meant to do on this earth. This decision you're making right now will determine your outcome of your tomorrow. We don't have control over yesterday, but this decision that you're making right now will push you, will purge you, will drive you to have that fire down inside.
There's never been a point, anytime, and there never will be, where everything is perfect. Okay? No such thing. Because life is a possibility. Because it's a possibility, it cannot be perfect. Doesn't matter what we do, there's still something more to do.
The possibilities when you do this, although unknown, are endless. But one thing is for certain, if you don't push yourself, nothing in your life will change.
If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it. Human being, you got unlimited potential. You can put effort on you, and by concentrating on you and developing you, you can transform your life wherever you are right now.
There has to be something so deep in you that drives you. So what really does it for me is I know what we're capable of. And I know that most human beings aren't willing to go where I am. And that's a very, very dangerous thing. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. Everybody has this talent. It's not a talent. It's just realizing that we stop way short of our true potential. So through my life, I realize these things. And I know what gives me fuel is I know that most people who are blessed with so much talent, great parents, great upbringing, didn't come from where I come from. They're gonna quit before me. Having all the tools that they have, they didn't have the ability to examine themselves. When you have everything so nice in life, it's great to have a great life. But what happens is you don't self-examine. You don't do a live autopsy. When you have a fucked up life, it almost forces you to do a live autopsy. It forces you to find strength from places that no one looks from. Because food is not at the ready. You know, I have a learning disability. It's not at the ready. I can't just pick up a book and start reading. Right. There's preparation behind everything I do. There's everything I do has to come with so much preparation. It's despicable. It makes me sick. My own personal life makes me sick. That's why I'm so disciplined now. Without my self-discipline, there is no David Goggins. Like, I can't stop reading. I won't be able to read tomorrow. I will lose it that fast. I cannot stop going to the gym. My mind is set up in a spot where, hey, the second I stop, it wants to stop. Because I had a quitting mind growing up. When you get beat the shit out of you all the time, your mind wants to go to that nice spot where you're comforted, where you're not trying, where shit is easy. That's where your mind, it doesn't want to think. You have all these things in the mind, and the mind can only absorb so much. So all the pain it has to go through, it wants to push it away and say, let's not do that. So every day I'm fighting where the mind wants to go. So it's a constant evolution, man.
There isn't a better way to live your life. There's no right way and wrong way. There is only the way that gives you more energy. There is only the way that gives you fulfillment. When you have those things, when you're fulfilled by what you're doing and it's giving you, the harder you pursue it, it's giving you more energy, you're on the right path. As the Greeks would say, segolodroma, I can't believe I messed that up. Segolodroma, which means you're on a good road. And that's what I want people to understand. Like, yes, I preach a very specific path, but I don't think that it is a universal path. And so the only universal path is to do the things that give you fulfillment and energy. So if spending time with your friends gives you that, then you should be spending more time with your friends. If dating gives you that, then you should be dating. So you don't need to want to be the best in the world at something. You don't need to want to make a lot of money. You don't need to want to be an entrepreneur. They're literally just stand-ins. They're proxies for fulfillment and energy creation. That's it.
Many people have had difficult experiences growing up. They have fallen onto hard times and become associated with the wrong people. They have behaved in ways that were illegal or socially unacceptable. Sometimes they have even been convicted and sent to prison for their crimes. But at a certain point in life, they decided to change. They thought seriously about the kind of person that they wanted to be known as and thought of in the future. They decided to change their lives by changing the values that they live by. By making these decisions and sticking to them, they changed their lives. And what others have done, you can do as well. Remember, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. All that really matters is where you're going. If you were an outstanding person in every respect, how would you behave toward others? What sort of impression would you leave on others after you had met them and spoken with them? Imagine you could be a completely excellent person. How would you be different from today? The moment that you begin walking, talking, and behaving in ways that are consistent with your highest ideals, your self-image improves, your self-esteem improves, your self-esteem increases, and you feel happier about yourself and your world. For example, whenever you are complimented or praised by another person, or given a prize or an award for accomplishment, your self-esteem goes up, sometimes dramatically. You feel happy about yourself. You feel that your whole life is in harmony and that you are living congruent with your highest ideal. You feel successful and valuable. Your aim should be to deliberately and systematically create the circumstances that raise yourself. Esteem in everything you do. You should live your life as if you were already the outstanding person that you intend to be sometime in the future. Decide today to be a man or woman of honor. Resolve to tell the truth and to live in truth with yourself and others. Crystallize your values in each area of your life. Write them down. Think of how you would behave if you were living consistent with those values and then refused to compromise them for any reason. Once you accept complete responsibility for your life and for everything that happens to you, and then create an ideal picture of your perfect future and clarify your values, you are now ready to begin setting clear, specific goals in every area of your life. You are now on the launching ramp and ready to take off toward the stars.
You have to work on yourself. You have to have an unstoppable attitude, and no excuse is acceptable. And you've got to make it a priority, a non-negotiable in your life, and hold a constant vision of what it is you want to achieve. See it accomplished and go all out. Find a way to win in spite of the setbacks, in spite of the disappointments, in spite of your failures. I tell people when I'm giving presentations, you will fail your way to success. I have a saying, is life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And so those experiences of going after goals that's beyond your comfort zone and having relationships that will challenge you. And so those experiences, they challenge you to go to that next level and continue to move forward in your life, doing new and exciting things that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor is it in the heart of mankind what God has in store for you when you live a heart-centered life, deciding that you're going to live a life that will outlive you. You're going to live a life that counts, a life that will build a legacy and change the planet. You know, Horace Mann said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution.
What do you do when the thing that you didn't ask for happens in your life in the shifting seasons?
I don't care how good you are, I don't care how talented you are. There are some times when things aren't going to go right, and you have to deal with it.
You can find yourself stressed out. You can find yourself depressed, mentally fragile because of the experiences, the turbulence that you have gone through.
You can experience enough pain in life that it can clobber you to the ground, and you believe you can't do it. You believe that this is it for you. No, it's not.
What if you told people the story of, hey, I had a fucked up life, but I don't want to tell you that. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do next, and I'm going to go out and do it. That is what self-development is about. That is what peak performance is about. That is what breaking through self-limiting beliefs is about, is rewriting the story. Because as long as you have breath in your lungs, as long as your heart is beating, as long as you have consciousness in your mind, you can go and rewrite the story of how your life ends.
Setbacks will happen. When they do, it's okay to cry, but eventually you have to get over it and move on.
It is good to be uncomfortable. I've never met anybody who was terribly creative or gifted or strong in leadership who was also comfortable. It's always those people who say, is there not a cause? Those exceptional people who are uncomfortable with the times and rise to the challenge because they refuse to allow the chaos around them to determine the conqueror within them. People who resist the toll to go down and stand fiercely in spite of opposition and say, I'm going to do it anyway.
Forget all your problems. Everyone has the same problems. It's our solutions to those problems that make us different. Do you have the courage to get what you want? It takes courage to achieve your goals, man. It's easy to give up. It's easy to look at these people and make excuses as to why they can do what you can't. You have everything you need to achieve anything.
Our great problem is not that we feel that we are powerless, but that deep down inside we feel that we are powerful beyond measure. It's an incredible thought. It's almost a scary thought, isn't it? But it's also true, because the powers that you have are extraordinary.
Have faith like a child. Adults are too skeptical. You may not be able to do all you find out. You may not be able to do all you find out, but you should find out all you can do. See, you don't want to wind up at the end of your life and discover that you've lived only 1/10 of it. And the other 9/10 went down the drain. Be curious. Get excited like a child over your ability to make yourself do anything for change. The law of use. And it goes something like this. Whatever you don't use, you lose. Lack of use causes loss. You lose automatically when you quit. The same thing goes for all the human virtues. Ambition, unused, declines. Strong feelings, unused, diminish. It doesn't grow. Faith, unused, decreases. It's a law. Today unused is lost. A talent unused is lost. An ability unused is lost. So here's one of the key expressions of the evening. Take a new inventory of yourself. Starting tomorrow, new project. Take a new inventory and make sure that all of your talent and ability and mentality and ingenuity and vitality and strong feelings, faith, courage, make sure that all you've got's being used. Otherwise, you lose. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Go over it. And if you repeat it, go over it, sure enough, someday, some mysterious day, the idea takes root, starts to grow, and shows up in your personality and your lifestyle.
I don't care where you come from. I don't care where you were raised. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care about any of that If you invest in yourself consistently, if you do the work consistently, 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. 10 years of motherfucking work is going to pay off.
Dig deep. Take accountability for your goals, dreams, and aspirations. Ain't nobody gonna give you nothing. Ain't nobody gonna give you nothing you ain't working for.
And the reason why some of you can't get to that next level, we don't have enough stuff in you to push you to get through some of the hell you gotta go through. That house ain't gonna get you through that hell. That car ain't gonna get you through that hell. You only go to another level when you're on this level and you eating out of trash cans and you say, enough is enough. I'll do whatever it takes.
Do you, be you, for you. Bye.
You should treat yourself like you're someone responsible for helping. And the first question is, well, why don't you? And the answer is, well, there's a lot wrong with you, you know, and it's hard to exercise enough love and care in a deep and non-naive way to care properly for something like that. It's an encouragement to assume, to act out the proposition that even if life is as difficult as it seems to be, and if you're as vulnerable and weak in a fundamental sense as you definitely are, and characterized by this terrible propensity for the infliction of voluntary suffering on yourself and others, and that destructive tendency, that there's still something within you that's so remarkable and so aligned with order and being in the proper manner that you can climb above that, let's say like Abel, and that you can make the proper sacrifices, and that you can set yourself right, and you can set your family right, and you can set the world right, and that the mere possibility that that might occur, that that might be within the realm of potential, means that you have a moral obligation to exercise the responsibility to take care of yourself as if you're something that matters. And that if you did that properly, it might turn out that what you did would matter, that it would matter to you, that it would be meaningful in the way that things that matter are meaningful, and that it would matter to everyone around you.
If you aim to be something you are not, you will always fail. Aim to be you. Aim to look and act and think like you. Aim to be the truest version of you. Embrace that you-ness. Endorse it. Love it. Work hard at it. And don't give a second thought when people mock it or ridicule it. Most gossip is envy in disguise. I believe that what we become depends on what our fathers teach us at odd moments, when they aren't trying to teach us. We are formed by little scraps of wisdom. Maturity is the ability to live fully and equally in multiple contexts. Most especially, the ability, despite our grief and losses, to courageously inhabit the past, the present, and the future all at once. The wisdom that comes from maturity is recognized through a disciplined refusal to choose between or isolate three powerful dynamics that form human identity. What has happened, what is happening now, and what is about to occur. Immaturity is shown by making false choices. Living only in the past, or only in the present, or only in the future, or even living only 2 out of the 3. Maturity is not a static arrived platform where life is viewed from a calm, untouched oasis of wisdom, but a living elemental frontier between what has happened, what is happening now, and the consequences of that past and present. First imagined and then lived into the waiting future. Maturity calls us to risk ourselves as much as immaturity, but for a bigger picture, a larger horizon, for a powerfully generous outward incarnation of our inward qualities, and not for gains that make us smaller, even in the winning. People say that what we're all seeking is a meaningful life. I don't think that's what we're really seeking. I think that what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical plane will have resonances with our own innermost being and reality, so that we actually feel the rapture of being alive. Believe me, there is no such thing as great suffering, great regret, great memory. Everything is forgotten, even a great love. That's what's sad about life, and also what's wonderful about it. There is only a way of looking at things, a way that comes to you every once in a while. That's why it's good to have had love in your life after all, to have had an unhappy passion. It gives you an alibi for the vague despairs we all suffer from.
You have some narrative in your mind that is so negative that when you look in the mirror, you see somebody worth trashing. You see what's wrong. You pick apart your appearance. And I want to reverse that, because here's the deal about self-confidence. Self-confidence begins with you. You realize the word self is in there, right? I can't give you confidence. I can give you a little boost. I can give you tools. I can encourage you. But confidence is forged in fire. It's something that's within you. And here's the thing I want you to realize about confidence. You are a confident person. That's why you miss feeling that way. You can only miss what you know. You've just been blocked from the feeling of it. And wherever you are right now in your life, I'm telling you, confidence is in there. You just got to figure out how to tap into it.
If you're holding on to something that does not serve you, you are making a terrible error. It's going to cause all kinds of problems. You may blame other people or other things. You may blame the situation. It's you are the cause of the problem. The man that told me to pick up this book and read it, Ray Stanford, he had a saying. He used to say to me, Bob, you're the only problem you'll ever have, and you're the only solution. I think it might have taken me 5 years to understand it. But I do understand it. And you know something? I am the only problem I'll ever have, and I am the only solution. Don't hold on to anything that is not serving you. Reject it. You know the beautiful part about having an inductive reasoning factor? That's the part that chooses thoughts. You can accept or reject. The beautiful part of your mind, you can accept or reject anything that comes into your world. Accept or reject it. It's a choice. Don't hold on to anything that is not serving you.
If we play the victim role, then we are using our personal power to be helpless. If we decide to accept responsibility, then we don't waste time blaming somebody or something out there. Some people feel guilty for creating illness or poverty or problems. They choose to interpret responsibility as guilt. And some members of the media like to refer to it as New Age guilt. These people often feel guilty because they believe that they have failed in some way. However, they usually accept everything as a guilt trip in one way or another, because it's another way to make themselves wrong. And that is not what I'm talking about. If we can use our problems and illnesses as opportunities to think about how we can change our lives, we have power.
Here's something I want you to keep in mind. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over.
In the past, if you look at it, people have perceived themselves as victims of everything around them, victims of circumstances. And then we go, oh, I'm sorry, life did not give me those wonderful things that other people have. And the simple reality is, no, if you have an issue, it's not the outside. This is what we've always, oh, universe, give me something. We now know that our issues are internal. It's our own subconscious beliefs that we've been programmed with of disempowerment. Like when a child is growing up and getting its programs, think of what things parents say. Oh, you don't deserve this. Who do you think you are? I mean, the parents didn't mean that for your whole life. They were trying to, goad you, needle you to make a change. So they would say these things. 95% of our life comes from those programs. So if you have disempowering beliefs about who you think you are, because you got them from other people, that's how you know who you are. These disempowering beliefs play 95% of the day in an average person's life. So I say, yeah, well, my wishes and desires, I want success, I want great relationships, I want all these wonderful things, I want health. I go, well, that's conscious mind, because conscious mind's creative. But as science reveals, only 5% of the day are we operating from our own personal wishes and desires. 95% of the day we operate from the programs that we got in the first 7 years. And if those programs, which psychologists have told us 70% are negative and disempowering and self-sabotaging, I say, good, apply these 95% of the day in your life. And you realize why your life is a struggle. It's not a struggle because the universe is not providing. It's a struggle because your own consciousness is not accepting. And this is where we have to change. And so getting control of your mind taking charge of your consciousness is a way of overcoming those limitations. There are many different ways to take this control back in your life. And one of them is the ability to, like in yoga, for example, to be the master of your mind and not let it run the monkey mind. Let it run. No, I want this. Don't let this other one go.
And so overcoming the old self allows us to become somebody else. And there is that period of transition. Yeah. I call it the void, where there's just not a lot happening. And you just got to be able to keep going and continuously get to the end of your belief, where most people stop. I just had a fabulous conversation with someone this weekend. Broke through to the other side, and now there's so much magic happening around this person. But she's worthy now to receive it. And that is the key, because the universe only gives us what we think we're worthy of receiving. So we got to become initiated into this and understand it. Thousands of years of programming that says that we have to change things matter to matter, in three-dimensional reality. And it will take time, but to begin to connect to that resource called the quantum field and create from the field instead of from matter, there's a lot of unlearning that has to go on. You have to really begin to mentally rehearse. Like, so you ask yourself at the end of your day, I do this every day. How'd I do? How'd I do today, bro? How'd you do? Did you do good? Where'd you fall from grace? What was it that caused you to go unconscious for the rest of the day? Like, what was that moment? Now, if you're a student of life, you'll begin to contemplate, well, it was that person that said that thing, then I reacted, or I got this email, or things didn't go my way, and I started feeling angry or frustrated or fearful. The next time that happens, how could I evolve my experience? Now, you may have to search for some answers of the best model to build, or you may actually have a long contemplation and start to go, God, the next time that happens, I think I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to plan my behaviors. And the act of closing your eyes and rehearsing what you're going to do begins to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like you already did it. Now the brain is no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future. And if you keep installing that hardware, the hardware will become a software program, which means you'll just start acting like a happy person. Why? There's no magic there. You installed the circuitry. So that's more important than the news.
Right.
It's more important than answering any email or any text. It's more important than talking about your past.
If you want to enjoy self-confidence on the outside, you must practice complete integrity on the inside. The foundation of self-confidence is for you to live your life consistent with your innermost values and principles, while thinking and acting in harmony with your highest aspirations. Men and women with the most solid self-confidence are those who are absolutely clear about what it is they believe to be right and good and worthwhile, and who live their lives consistent with these values. Everything they do or say is an expression of their innermost convictions. Your whole world can fall down around you, but as long as you know that you are doing the right thing, you will have a deep inner sense of calm that will manifest itself in an attitude of confidence and self. In an attitude of confidence and self-assurance in any situation. You will have many ups and downs in life. But what is most important is that you remain true to yourself. Your true values are only expressed in your actions, in what you do. You can tell what you truly believe by observing what you do in any situation in which you have to make a choice, especially when you are under stress and pulled in two directions at once, with opposing demands or responsibilities. This is when your true values are revealed. The action that you take in any given situation will tell you which of your values is uppermost or whether you have any values at all. It is not what you say, hope, wish, or intend, but only what you do that counts. Your choices of the actions you take tell you unerringly who you really are. You can develop within yourself a superb set of values by acting as though you already had those values. you can develop integrity and courage and compassion and confidence by behaving as though you already had these qualities. The more you act the part, especially when you demonstrate these qualities under stress or when you feel like doing or saying something else, the more rapidly these qualities become a permanent part of your mental makeup. The more you practice good values, the more rapidly you become a truly superior person. The keys to developing the unshakable self-confidence that will make everything else possible for you are self-control, self-mastery, and self-discipline. Self-confidence can come directly by behaving in a self-confident manner, but more often it comes indirectly by doing and saying the things and practicing the behaviors that lead to self-confidence. The most important self-development behavior is living consistently with your highest values at every opportunity